Yeah, we can get started.
Hani 6-2.
Yeah, we'll get started, right? There are people still joining in, but yeah. Okay, good evening, and let me welcome you all for this Zoom seminar organized by the Career Guidance Subcommittee of the Parents Teachers Association of STC. Um, so let me introduce the guest speaker that we have here for today. She's Ranmini Unanthan. She's a senior manager, career guidance, counseling, physical education and sports at the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology, or what we call SLIT. She has a bit of experience with the Ministry of Higher Education. She was a consultant for the Quality and Innovation Grant funded by the World Bank under the Higher Education for the 21st Century project. She's also a graduate from University of Peradeniya with her bachelor's degree in liberal arts and sciences and a master of science in integrated water resource management. She was the director of professional development for Rotaract Club of Kandy. Um, she will actually be talking about factors to consider when selecting higher education opportunities in terms of both professional and academic qualifications. And this is going to be quite a kind of a short presentation, and we would like to have questions. So we would encourage you, we're going to mute all the participants, but we would like to encourage you to ask your questions while the session is going on the chat, so that we can direct them to the to Ranmini. Right. Thank you, Ranmini, for joining us, and let me invite you to continue our presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shehan. Let me actually start sharing my screen so that I can move on with the presentation. Special thanks to the St. Thomas's PTA for inviting me to conduct the session, and we should also mention Mrs. Lamaheva, who had been quite instrumental in contacting me and giving us the opportunity. So the topic, I hope that you all can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yes. The topic that is selected is factors to consider when selecting higher education opportunities. And I must express that all views and points that are discussed here today are based on the actual experience that I had as a guidance counselor and as an officer during enrollment. So more or less all aspects that are discussed are based on actual experience. So before we move on to the factors, I would like to establish the very basic differences between what we called an academic qualification and a professional qualification. So basically, an academic qualification is all kinds of educational qualifications, which basically focuses more on theory rather than having a lot of practical applications in a broader sense. If you take a professional qualification, you will be taught or geared up to do a specific job, so that you know, your qualifications and your experience would be related to that specific job only. The commonmost examples for academic qualifications, starting from your ordinary levels to advanced level, we have Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Business Administration, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Applied Sciences, Bachelor of Education, BEng is Bachelor of Engineering. Then we also have LLB. In terms of professional qualifications, I'm sure a lot of people would know that we have AAT, ACCA, banking related, marketing related. Then we also have local professional bodies which grants qualifications such as SLIM. Then we have IT related professional qualifications granted by academies such as Cisco, let's say Sun, Java related. Then we have Microsoft services coming in. And I've also listed a couple of professional qualifications that are granted by foreign-based bodies, which is RICS, which is Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors and Royal Institute of British Architects. The other one I've listed it is IESL, so which is something that we know of. which is Institute of Engineers, Sri Lanka. So when it comes to professional qualification, there are a lot of professional bodies that actually offer them, so that you understand that there is a slight difference between an academic qualification and a professional qualification. I've also listed another one, which is an academic qualification leading into professional qualification, or the other way around. Increasingly, we see that there are a lot of academic qualifications that would grant exemptions for certain parts of professional qualifications. So the professional qualifications, for example, CIMA, completing maybe the first level or the second level. So once you do the first or the second level, if you want to move into an academic degree, maybe a BBA program, that particular BBA program might decide, okay, you have fulfilled certain entry requirements, therefore you can exempt 2 years of study and you can continue from third year onwards. So I hope with this that you would be able to understand the basic differences of having an academic qualification and a professional qualification, and a hybrid version of either an academic qualification leading into a professional qualification, or a professional qualification that would help you to achieve an academic qualification as well. When you're selecting a higher education path, of course, the facts that I'm going to discuss are more or less things that are known to you. So you would wonder, why do you need to really reconsider or have an information session regarding the same? True, I admit that the factors that I'm going to present is more or less known factors, things that you would have already started considering, but I'm going to do a little bit of a in-depth dive into, there are certain subsections that you sometimes omit by mistake or by not knowing, which should be included in your analysis when you're selecting a higher education path. So here I've selected 7 aspects. If you start from the center, I've listed passion and interest. And if you go clockwise, we have qualification type, location, market trend, study program related details, what kind of success stories are available, and of course, a crucial factor, finance. If I move into passion and personal interest, the first one, which was actually in the center, I am actually talking about the passion and personal interest of the candidate or your son or your daughter, not the parents' passion and interest. The reason that I'm highlighting this point is, we see a lot of instances, especially in the Sri Lankan context, where parents take a leading role in deciding what kind of study program or a professional qualification that the student should be engaged in, which is quite fine. But what needs to be kept in mind is that there is a part where the learner also have to be interested in what they are learning. For example, university education is a little bit different from your usual secondary education, where you basically get a lot of information to your hand, you study and you sit for an exam and you pass. In university education, you have to do a lot of learning by yourself, be up to date with the market trends, know what's happening around you, so that you will be a successful learner. You cannot just stick to books and read the material that is given to you in class. You have to do a little bit of learning on your own. So the learner success actually depends on whether the learner actually has the passion or the interest towards that particular subject or the field. So learner success would obviously contribute to the lifelong learning factor, where they will continue to learn if you are interested in that field. And that continuous learning would obviously be an important point when you are trying to have a career growth or succeed in your career. So of course, career growth is also tied up with the remuneration. So therefore, having passion and personal interest in whatever the field that you select for your son and daughter, make sure that when the decision is made, that the decision is made together, not only by the students, because the student may not have a clear understanding. So therefore you are there, you can guide them, but make sure that the decision making is transparent and that both parties understand that where the actual passion and the interest lie. One of the things that parents or the students, when they come for enrollment or for guidance counseling, tell us is, we are not sure where our personal interest is. I like this, I like that. I'm not sure what I'm interested in actually. So for that, what I advise is that you actually have to do some personality test and IQ assessments. IQ assessments are dime a dozen. You have a lot of books which are available. You also have a lot of online resources such as tests that you can do online, so that you have a slight understanding as to what your IQ level is, which will measure your learning ability, problem solving ability. So you would know what kind of an IQ level that should be required to study a certain program or a professional qualification. Personality test is a little bit of a tricky one. The reason that we say that you should try out a personality test is because certain professions or certain jobs or even certain fields of study require certain types of personality traits. For instance, if you are in the medical profession, you need to have a certain caregiving kind of personality traits. If you are into marketing, maybe if you are a complete introvert, it might not work out. So you need to have certain abilities where you should be comfortable with the crowd, you should be able to engage with people, lead a team, likewise. So therefore, the fun part of it is that you're trying to figure out what kind of personality traits that you have that should be able to help you with deciding your career choice. So I've just listed one example here, which is the Myers-Briggs personality types. There are 16 different personalities, and I can make the link available for in the chat maybe later, so that you can actually go through the test and figure out what kind of a personality you have, or maybe your son or your daughter has. The second link that I've listed is careerme.lk, which is a local product that is developed. Let me just quickly move to the next slide. So this is a screenshot of careerme.lk, and under tools, you have quite a few set of free tools that you can use to figure out what kind of skills that you have and what skills should be matching to what kind of a job. And if you are interested in a certain area, what kind of degrees are available. So this is an ideal free tool that you can use to make an informed decision as to what exactly your personal interest and your passion is at. The other thing to evaluate when you're trying to figure out your personal interest or your son or your daughter's personal preference, you should always ask the teachers, because teachers know the student's strength. And of course, you can ask certain career enrollment counselors, and you can speak to your peers, your friends, and then family members, and figure out what kind of a personality you have and what kind of passion that is there, whether it's related to automobiles, whether it's related to tourism and hospitality, whether you're good at leading teams and management, whether you're IT savvy or business minded, likewise. So the first 2 points would obviously give you an idea as to how or where your actual passion or the personal interests lie. In order to understand more into what kind of areas that one would be interested in, I would also suggest that you go through job portals. When we go through job advertisements, we would be able to understand, or we can understand, what kind of jobs are available in different sectors. For instance, if you take IT, whether it's development, or even if it's development, whether it's software, be it mobile, or whether it's cloud computing, or gaming, what equips your interest. If it's engineering, whether it's electrical, mechanical, likewise. If it's hospitality, do you want to be a front-facing person or whether you would like to be a back-end person where you are more or less organizing everything, likewise. So if there is a particular industry that the students are interested in, ask them to go through job search engines and see what kind of vacancies are available. So one thing you would understand the vacancies available and how the industry is moving and what kind of qualification each of these vacancies are requiring for you to have, so that you're a little bit sorted on where exactly your personal interests lie. Next point that I would like to reiterate is the level of qualification or the qualification type. Here I have taken the Sri Lanka qualification framework to elaborate on this. As you can see on the screen, O-level and A-level has been categorized between level 1 and level 2 of SLQF. And of course, failing A-level is not an issue. You can always do a foundation program, which is an equivalent qualification to SLQF level 2, and proceed to either a professional qualification or a bachelor's degree. The reason of knowing these SLQF levels are increasingly a lot of organizations are basing their recruitment and their promotions on this particular framework. This particular framework is not only unique to Sri Lanka, but it is also a derivation from the Asia Pacific region qualification framework. So if you are planning to either study abroad or to find employment abroad, you should be able to map the current qualification that you have already gained or in the process of gaining into a professional qualification framework, so that the transition is easier. Otherwise, you might have to start from scratch when you go into a foreign country in terms of for employment or for your higher education. You might have to start from scratch just to prove that you are at a particular level of learning. So we should be considering between the SLQF level 3 to 6, which has both diploma levels and top-up degree options, 3-year bachelor's degrees and 4-year honors bachelor's degrees. I will not speak about levels 7 to 12, which is more or less related to going through a postgraduate or master's level degrees. This is also something very important when it comes to deciding what kind of higher education qualification, be it academic or professional, the location. So when I say location, I am trying to say that you have to decide whether you are going for a local university, that is, you are going to study here in Sri Lanka, whether it be state university or another degree awarding institute or a campus, which could be a private campus, or whether you're going to study a foreign degree, which is offered here in Sri Lanka, or you are actually trying to go abroad for all of the professional or the academic qualification. When you're trying to do either of these three options, I would urge all parents to consider world university rankings. So world university rankings are common measurements where they evaluate universities based on the curriculum, the programs offers, the diversity of the program, how much of experience that they have in terms of being in the education industry, the alumni networking, research. All of these has been taken into consideration when you are developing the world university rankings. So be it that you are here in Sri Lanka studying at a state university or another private university, or if you are here studying in Sri Lanka to a foreign degree program that is offered by a local institute or a campus, or if you are deciding to fly to a foreign country to learn for the professional qualification or for the academic qualification, make sure that you select a good university or an institute that has the highest ranking possible. So I have listed Times Higher Education, QS, and Webometrics, which are the most prevalent rankings that are available. you can always do a self-search and figure out what are the best universities inside the country and outside, and also within the region. When you're selecting a university, you should also check for the facilities that are offered by the institute or the university. Of course, some of these things might not be very relevant if you are going to, if you're planning to enter into the state universities where the choice would be very much minimized based on what degree program or the university that you are opting to be selected for. But always keep these things in mind, which would be helpful for the future. So in terms of support services, whether it's study program related or whether it's counseling and other services, make sure that you know what kind of support services are available. When you talk about a tertiary education or a university experience, we always encourage people to do extracurricular activities, because learning is not the only component, or book-based learning is not the only component that should be looked at. Because when you're doing a job, there are several things that you have to learn to juggle, which would include your family life, other activities, your learning, and your job. So by being inside an institute or a university, if you can also engage in extracurricular activities, you will learn to balance both sides. So that is why we always encourage prospective candidates to look for extracurricular activities which are offered by different institutes. You should also look at what possible industry-related networking opportunities that are available, because at the end of any academic or professional qualification, the aim is to get a good job. So that networking opportunity is actually a must. And you should also see the strength and the placement of the alumni. How many alumni members are doing well of that particular institute or the program. So those are actually some things that you have to consider. And teaching panel, I would like to reiterate, this is actually also a part of World University Rankings. You have to figure out whether, or you can ask whatever the institute that you're planning to go to or the campus, what kind of a teaching panel is available, whether it's local or whether it's foreign, whether it's in-house, whether the entire panel is in-house, full-time available, or whether there are a lot of people visiting. And also the qualifications, whether they have the sufficient number of qualifications or the sufficient qualifications to be a part of that teaching panel. And also, if you are really going into something related to an industry related qualification, what kind of industry representation is actually available. So those are things in terms of teaching panel that you should be asking, or you should be finding out when you're trying to select a professional or a academic qualification. I've also listed scholarship opportunities as a part of location. So when you are asking or searching for information, try to also look at what are the locally available scholarship opportunities and foreign scholarship opportunities that you can get into, or your son can get into. Here I have actually listed 3 main common scholarship schemes that are offered, which is the Fulbright scheme and the Commonwealth scholarship scheme, and also the German academic exchange services. So when you when you do research related to what kind of qualification that you're looking at, just go through these scholarship schemes also to figure out whether the qualification that you're aiming for would be an entry requirement or would be considered as an entry requirement when you're applying for these scholarship opportunities as well. Here I've given a very basic screenshot of other recognized degree awarding institutes listed under the University Grants Commission, which is available on the web. And since I know that there was a discussion on state universities and related degree programs, I would urge all parents to go through this particular universities and institute page under the Universities Grants Commission and go through the programs that are available and the institutes that are offering them, so that you have sufficient information regarding the choices that you make. Next, what I would like to speak about is the market trends. So we spoke about several factors, and market trends is also very important when you're selecting a particular degree program or a professional qualification. So based on the market trend, the recognition that is given to a particular qualification can also vary. What we thought was a hot kind of a qualification, this is a must-have qualification about 10 years ago, may not be so relevant now. So what we think is an up and coming field might not be so relevant in another 4 years' time. So how can we sort this issue of, being outdated in terms of qualification? One of the things that you can do is that you go through the job boards, company news, which are available, and go through the research and technology trends and figure out what kind of a market trend that is available. The easiest example that I can give is, let's say we learn accounting, where we learn the principles of accounting. And then we learn how to keep a physical ledger book and how to do entries. That could have been the ideal thing to learn maybe 10 years back. But with the advancement of technology, you would see a lot of accounting software that is coming into place. So therefore, we see that certain aspects of this accounting process being replaced by technology. So if you are doing an accounting related degree or a professional qualification now, always check to see whether it has some kind of an information technology related aspect, whether you will be taught a specific accounting package, or at least in general, whether you will be introduced to the accounting packages that are available, so that you are more or less up to date with the current market trend. So to do that, you obviously have to do your research. You have to go through the job boards and see which profession requires what kind of qualification and how the market is evolving. And you can follow through your favorite companies or follow through general research and technology trends to understand how the market is moving forward. Next is what I've listed is the study program. So when you're selecting either an academic or a professional qualification, the study program plays a crucial part. If you have gone through all the former steps that I've mentioned, you would obviously know by now as to what kind of a study program or a professional qualification that you're looking at. So when you're looking at the study program, you really need to go through the content. The content can be made available either online through their websites, or you can always request for a prospectus. So the prospectus or the website information usually lists down what kind of modules that are offered under each of these qualifications or programs. The reason we want you to check this content of the study program is to check whether the content is up to date. If you have a 5-year-old curriculum which is being delivered now, that might not be very beneficial for you in another 4 years' time. So you need to see the industry trends that you saw in the job boards or in the technology trends that you saw is captured in the content that is given in the prospectus. And if it's not available, you should always cross-check to whoever that is giving you the information. You can always write to them, speak to them, meet them, and ask what kind of a content is this? How is it, up to date? Is it up to date? How do you update it? Because in standard terms, if a major curriculum revision is usually taken place every 4 to 5 years, and there are usually minor modifications being made to curriculums every 2 to 3 years. So you as a candidate and a prospective, a parent of a prospective candidate has the right to know more information regarding the study program, curriculum, and the modules that is being delivered. Also, when you're checking the modules, check whether there are cross-learning opportunities. The reason that I'm saying that these cross-learning opportunities are needed because of the previous example of an accounting student knowing a little bit about IT. A similar case, let's say if you are trying to be a civil engineer, being a civil engineer not only involves, having a lot of dealing with physical things such as buildings. It also involves managing human resources. So if in a civil engineering curriculum, ideally there should be at least one or two humanities modules that are offered that would gear you towards a particular, cross-learning opportunity. It could be even a language. You could be learning Chinese as a civil engineer because we see a lot of Chinese construction workers. So these humanities or the cross-learning subjects that are offered should also vary with the market trend that is there. So these are things that in terms of content that you really need to look into when you're selecting the study programs. Talking further about study programs, you should also think about the possible exit opportunities that are available. When I say exit opportunities, if you take the Sri Lanka qualification frameworks, after the first 2 years of study in an academic qualification, you are entitled to award a diploma, which is considered as an exit point. If you really want to do 2 years and exit, then you should be given a diploma. If you do 3 years, it should be an advanced diploma. If you do either the 3-year or the 4-year honors degree, then it's the degree. So there are certain exit points that are mapped into a study program. You should know that depending on, because there could be instances where you might need to exit quickly and come back again, and that qualification needs to be available with you. Similarly, if you take CIMA, there are 3 levels. So if you complete level 1, you are given the operational level certificate. If you complete level 2, you are given the management level certificate. If you are completing level 3, which is the final stage, you are given the strategic level certificate. So likewise, make sure when you're selecting a particular program or a qualification type, check what kind of exit opportunities are available. The next one I want to highlight under the same point is the possible transfer options, which are both mostly related to academic qualification, but also can be applied to professional qualifications as well. When it comes to academic related transfer options, if your degree program or the academic qualification that you're trying to get into is already mapped with a certain partner university, be it local or a foreign university, it's quite easy for you to transfer. For example, if you study 2 years here in Sri Lanka, you can start your 3rd year straight away in a foreign partner university, provided that the 2 universities have an already established understanding. Otherwise, what could happen is if you will do 2 years of study here and you will go back to square one when you go join a foreign university and you have to start from first semester. So in order to avoid the resource waste and the time waste, it's always better if you also figure out what kind of transfer options are available. Exemptions are something that I spoke about earlier as well. If at all, when you're selecting a particular professional qualification, check and see what institutes or other academic institutes are offering exemptions. Vice versa, if you are going to select an academic qualification, ask what kind of professional bodies would provide exemptions for you, so that you are clear that you have different exit and transfer options in terms when you select a particular professional qualification or an academic qualification. Accreditations also play a huge part when you're selecting study programs, and a lot of these accreditations are provided by professional bodies, which gives a certain recognition to that particular study program, be it locally or elsewhere, either in the region or in the world. So ask what kind of accreditations are available, because for accreditations, each campus, the university or the institute have to work. It's not granted for life. you are basically evaluated every 5 years to see whether you're suitable to carry that accreditation. So accreditation could be based on conditional basis, where you say you have to fulfill certain amount of criteria to complete a particular a qualification, or it could be an unconditional accreditation for that particular study program or for that institute for a period of, let's say, 5 years. So under study programs, you have to consider these options. Moving on to other factors that needs to be considered. Success stories is actually more or less self-explanatory. You can find out based on the qualification or the institute that you're trying to select to do your higher education, what kind of achievements are available in terms of the students, how they have achieved, whether they have performed, or whether the institute itself has achieved certain, prizes, awards, recognitions, and also you can follow news. When it comes to success story, let me just express our happiness towards a certain St. Thomas's old boy who also happens to be an SLIT graduate, who got the German exchange program scholarship, DAD scholarship, which was awarded to Sri Lanka after 15 years. So one Mr. Binura Pereira, who's an old Thomian and also an alumni of SLIT, got this scholarship this year, and we are proud to say that he's doing quite well. So these are some of the success stories that you should be looking at, which actually gives a certain amount of information as people who are prospective candidates for a particular organization or for a scholarship. So these success stories are either available on social media or news media, or you can talk to people who have already attended or gone through that particular qualification to know more about. The final aspect that I want to highlight, of course, is one of the crucial aspects, is finance. When we talk about finance, I would not tell you how to fund a program or a qualification, but I would like to remind you that you should also ask whoever that is offering this particular qualifications whether there's opportunity for you all to do part payments, installment schemes, whether there's discounts available, and what kind of refund policies are available. Because a lot of people do not read the fine print when they agree to invest in a certain professional qualification or an academic qualification, and that could lead into certain bit of trouble in the future. Therefore, make sure that you ask for these aspects. And in terms of finance, access to scholarships is also something that you can ask for. For example, the institute that I work with also offers scholarships based on their A-level performance, their sports national or international performance. If you do very well in a semester, you are eligible for a certain amount of scholarship, which waives or fee waivers likewise. And I'm sure there are a lot of institutes in Sri Lanka, be it state universities or private universities, that do offer this kind of scholarship schemes. So make sure when you're checking on your finance aspects, get all the details that is related to scholarships also, which could be helpful for you in the future. When it comes to financing, also look for the option, if possible at all, whether you can work and read for a degree or a professional qualification at the same time. If you are going to a state university, that might not be possible, because under the state university's guidelines, you are not allowed to work unless it's a part and parcel, part and parcel of the curriculum. So where you have to go through a mandatory internship period. But there are other qualifications and other academic institutes that do offer programs during the weekend, where you actually can go through a particular apprentice or an industrial training opportunity during the other days. So just check out to see whether that option is also available. So we talked about, when we are talking about selecting higher education paths, that how important the passion and the interest is, and what kind of qualifications, whether we are going to go for a local degree or a foreign degree or a qualification, what kind of market trends that we should be keeping an eye on, the study program selection, the content of it, how success stories can help you to decide, and of course, finances. So the final question would be, what would be the best qualification? Should it be an academic qualification or a professional qualification? My answer to that would be, actually, it's quite circumstantial. It will depend on your situation. Me here, or a guidance counselor, or somebody that you are taking advice from might not be the right person to give you the answer. You need to do your own research and figure out what kind of a qualification is needed for your son or your daughter to move forward. So with that information, I would like to highlight that informed decision making is crucial when you're selecting a higher education opportunity, especially for your son and daughter. You have to do your own research. And there's usually a time between after sitting for your advanced levels and university selection, there's a little bit of a gap period. So do a little bit of a test drive by, following a short course, which could be available on web, which is free, something like through Coursera, Udemy, or MOOC. There are national vocational training level, short period qualifications that are also available. You can go through a 3 to 6 months program. You can recommend your son or daughter to go through such a program and figure out whether it's the right choice. And you can also go for an internship to figure out whether this is the right path or the field that you should be engaged in. So with that, I think I'm going to finish my very short presentation. And since I'm working at SLIT, I would like to invite all the parents who are present from the PTA to join SLIT Open Day, which is happening on the 15th of November. So a little bit of marketing from our end. We have 3 faculties and 2 schools. The faculties are Faculty of Computing, Engineering, and Humanities and Sciences. And we also have a business schools and a School of Architecture. So we offer a wide range of programs. And if you're interested, you're more or less welcome to visit our site and call our hotlines, and we will try to facilitate as many as possible for your inquiries. So yes, that's about it from my end. I think I may have taken a little bit longer than anticipated. Yes, so thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. If needed, I can entertain questions. Yes.
So if you all have any questions, you can post it on the chat room, or do tell me. I have opened it for you all. You can easily post your questions, like unmute yourself, and you can ask the questions from Ranmini.